This meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Kinsey.
Here.
Mossberg. Klein.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Loxton.
Here. We have a quorum, so we'll go on to the next item, number 3. Approval of minutes of regular meeting held 8th of January 2024.
I move we approve the minutes from January 8th, 2020.
Second. Motion is second. Call the roll.
Parker.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Loxton.
Yes.
Kinsey.
Yes. Next we'll go on to item 4, reports from staff, city council report.
We set the time limit out for getting prepared for next year's fiscal year budget. Staff are working on what their expectations are, so we'll probably do similar as what we've done in years past, maybe a little bit sooner with airport board members, to have a couple members to help prepare budget expectations for the upcoming year. The pool project got kicked off at the end of January, middle of January. Progress on that is going pretty well. Progress on the infill turf project. We had some good days and some slow days, but they're continuing to work on the turf project out there. We did open bids this morning for water line replacement in town, so we're having that project move forward. We'll probably be within a month or 6 weeks, we'll probably be looking at having our everything ready to go out to bid for the water tower at the well field. And then we did open bids today also for the telemetry for the wells at the well field and the water tower. I don't know. There was only one bid on that. We had about 6 bids on the water line replacement project. Other than that, you've seen your financial report. And our sales for services was starting to pick back up. January, 22,000 something for fuel. And that was some pretty crummy weather in January, so it was all right. But overall, revenue was ahead of schedule. Expenses are right in line, just about pretty close to being in line with where revenue is, but we had budgeted to spend more money this year by using some previous year fund balance. So as a percentage, the expenses are less of the budget than revenue is less than the budget. The finance committee did, I didn't bring it with me, but we did have a CD that was bid out, and couldn't tell you if it's reflected in this report or not. I'd have to look that up for you.
It is. It's 2/1 25 Bank Central got a 12-month CD for airport fund of $227,992.22. That was a big one for the airport in February. We did 12 months. We got a 5.20% for 12 months on that.
I will say we're starting to see the rates have stopped climbing, and depending on the term, the length of the term, we're starting to go down. Happy to try to answer any questions y'all might have.
Have any questions? No? Anything else on the city council report? If not, we'll go on next to the manager's report.
January, like you said, was bad weather, but still made out all right. $23,721.28. Sold $100 in merchandise and $595 for van rental. Oil was $262.12. Survival flight had 422 gallons. They had 1,015 gallons for $3,554. Jet ACA was 2,800 gallons, $9,817, and regular Jet A was 863 gallons. For 3,322, and then we sold 1,440 gallons of avgas for $6,068. We have already, in the 12 days, actually 11 days, we didn't have anything today, but we've already got $22,000 in fuel sales already, so this is turning out to be a pretty decent month. We've had several overnights, so that's been kind of nice, but we've just been putting them in the South Shore North 5 and Max's hangar, but his plane's back in there, so we're kind of dead on overnight, so no place to put them. We had several hunters in January, so that's when the van was useful. Gained a few more regulars due to how accommodating we are and how nice our airport is. And the GPU is getting used quite a bit along with our remote control tug. So it's kind of nice to have those available. Let's see. We did get started on the process for AT&T fiber. The contractor came, took a look at everything, and took pictures, figure out where they need to go and where they need to hook up everything. So I think the next stop is the engineer to come and figure out the cost. It's mainly, we shouldn't see any cost because they will, they'll have to trench it all from back behind the private hangars over there. They'll trench it over here, and then they'll figure out where they're going to go, and that shouldn't cost us anything. The only thing that should cost us is when they run it, we'll have our IT guys come in and set it up to the inside. So other than that, they said it could be a 90-day process, but they also said the 30-day wait for the contractor to be here, and he was here within a week and a half. So the above ground fuel farm solicitation for bids went out in the February 9th paper, and they'll be in this Friday's 16th paper. The pre-bid meeting will be 11 a.m. Wednesday, February 21st, and then the bid opening at City Hall 11 a.m. on Friday, March 1st. So that's moving along pretty good as well. We had the runway light final inspection on February 2nd. Went normal as usual, so they came and took pictures of the final looks. Lights on, the package on. inspection on February 8th. Everything passed for once, so normally we get those with the old one and we'd have to spend money every time, but we're doing the FAA AWAS inspection, the annual, probably in June or July with the FAA non-fed inspector. That's the one where we normally get dinged on, I guess, but we should not this time, with it being brand new. So, if you want me to, what am I supposed to go over on the,
Nothing, we got the pay request number 2 that will close out the AWAS. I just got that the other day from Park Hill, and I've got it printed off. I'll sign it and scan it, send it back in the morning. It's like $5,000. It's nothing. Just to let you guys know that that's going to be closed out pretty much as of tomorrow. So the AWAS will be a done deal as far as with us in Park Hill.
and I don't have anything else.
Have any questions for Greg?
When it's closed out tomorrow, we'll be getting the reimbursement then? Or we already received the reimbursement?
We already received reimbursement. This is our portion of it. This is our 5%.
Just our 5%?
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, we'll go on to the next item. Item number 5, discussion with Mr. John Weaver concerning the significant delay in delivery of the new 100-load lead avgas fuel truck.
Mr. and members, first of all, I want everyone to know that my purpose here is not to be accusatory and vindictive or anything. I'm just a frustrated local pilot, as are a majority of our other guys here. So this affects those of us that are regular flyers. So if you'll humor me for a minute, how many on the board members have bought avgas to fly here in the last 4 months? Okay. How many of you board members have flown in the last 4 months? So 1 out of 5. So obviously this doesn't affect you board members as much as it affects us local guys. But I kind of want to just discuss with the board, how did we go down this path where I looked at my last, October 5th was the last time I got fuel from the truck. And then I think shortly the next week afterwards it was shipped off. We're coming up close to 4 months now without a solution. And it seemed like that we had money from the airport and we were in a hurry to just buy those trucks and get them out there, and then there was a lot of things that didn't go right. And at what time did anyone ever consider, hey, let's stop this process, let's stop our losses, let's reaccumulate? And what's apparent, and some of this I think is all just lack of communication from the board or from the airport manager, is all of a sudden when the airport opened and the Jet A customers were coming in, and they didn't like the fact they had to pull over to the pump and then be towed to their spot, and then we got the Jet A truck back. That's appearance, that's perception. I don't know if that was reality, but then we local guys feel like, whoa, the Jet A money speaks, but us local guys don't. To the point that I know, our flying is about convenience and it's about speed, it's about camaraderie. We have a very robust Sunday morning coffee over here at the airport. But when you don't have convenience or speed, it kind of takes two of the parts of it out. I know for me, it takes me an extra 30 to 45 minutes to stop, get fuel, go get my tug, come back over here, get my airplane, tug it back to the hangar to put it in. My other option is to start the airplane, which decreases the life of your engine. All of us pilots, engine people know that. So to the point, from your fuel cells, you're losing some of your local guys because we're buying fuel off station because it's more convenient. So we need to bring that convenience back. I'm just wondering if anyone ever looked at investigated any alternatives. A fuel trailer temporarily could have been set up to meter out 100 low lead in accordance with FAA standards by the fuel filtration and towed around. That would also be a backup for if the truck is ever broke. Do you ever look at that when the trucks weren't correct, stop and maybe let's watch and look around to find one that's already existing fuel truck for sale from some other airport that's in good shape? Because that happens quite regularly. And then the original purpose, I was here at the board meeting when you all voted to authorize the purchase of the trucks, they were going to be similar, two Isuzus. One type of truck, one type of servicing. Now we have a big tandem axle Freightliner out there that, one, doesn't look like it's going to fit the Jet A tank correctly, or two, once you put that tank on there, it doesn't even look like it's going to fit underneath the overhang out there. Wonder if you guys, any discussion about, hey, let's take a reset on this Jet A truck. Let's get back to some reason. By the way, as far as I know, according to my airport manager, the Jet A truck's running just fine. So what is the hurry to try to do something? Again, Mr. Chairman, let's pause. We're just frustrated because we don't see any end in sight. I think some of it's lack of communication from the board or from the airport manager. Guys, this is a weekly update. This is a monthly update because all we know is like, well, we're waiting. I just think, we ought to look at what could we do better in the future. It didn't seem like we needed to be in that big of a hurry to spend that much money, and we still don't have a solution to either truck. Mr. Chairman, I have other members here that would like to speak. Do you want to do it on this agenda at now, or do you want them to wait till the end of the discussion?
This is with you. They need to wait until the end of the discussion, I think.
And that's it. Again, we would like to have some answers.
If the board members want to reply to Mr. Wiegner's. If not, I'll say a couple of things.
Sure.
We all know this didn't go as planned with changing the fuel trucks. There were some delays on compatibility and extra parts to make things work. And Greg has kept us board members pretty well up to date on what's going on and the process that's happening. I'm sure that if you ask him directly, he can explain those things to you. I don't know if you asked him, but he's volunteered the information to us board members without us asking what's going on and why this is happening and that's not happening. But anyway, like I say, we all know it didn't go as planned. There was some delays, and since the jet truck was operational, we got it back. The avgas truck is not running, so we're still waiting on components to marry the tank with the truck that we got. And I think, I am in hopes that when we get this all done, that we will have some updated equipment that we can use for a long time. It wasn't necessarily, I don't think it wasn't necessarily a deal where we wanted to spend a lot of money all of a sudden. It was just an opportunity that arose, that there was a couple of trucks that we thought would let us update our equipment. We all update cars and vehicles and tractors and things when the opportunity arises. And the opportunity arose, and so we were trying to do that. And we will get that accomplished. Like I say, I know there's been a delay. I'm sure Greg, on you guys, that Greg would be happy to probably tow your airplane to and from the pumps. Years ago, we had no avgas truck at all. And when local pilots would come in, they would leave their airplane at the pumps, and the airport manager and his staff would fuel it up and put it in the hangar. I'm sure if you talked with Greg and his staff, they would probably be happy to do that.
Derek.
I'm sorry, Derek. Sorry.
Or try calling Greg and see what happens.
I know you. I know Derek. Sorry. I don't know why I came up with Greg. But anyway, I'm sure he would be happy to tow your aircraft and help you out. Like I say, that's what they used to do years ago. We didn't have an avgas truck. And so that's the way it was accomplished. But anyway,
Well, when this, are you?
Go ahead, go ahead.
So, in this process, there have been decisions that surprised me. I don't feel my position on the board is to micromanage the airport manager. And all of us have learned from our experience and our decisions, and correcting those decisions and going forward. And where I have an issue is if we don't learn from sometimes our decisions or our actions, and we might repeat them as we go on down the path. But when we first started the truck situation, when my opinion was solicited outside of a board meeting, I suggested that research be done, new truck versus an existing used truck, options like that. And it seemed at the time, of course hindsight is 2020, it seemed at the time that the most prudent measure was, and the most cost effective, was with the two new Isuzu trucks, based on the numbers that I was seeing coming in, and the availability of something, because there's no need of jumping out of a mesh you know into a mesh you don't know, particularly on used equipment, particularly if you haven't maintained it. And the economics seemed appropriate for what we were going to do, and the questions were asked of the companies involved as to time frames, personnel, manpower, and all of that, and we received the answers on that was satisfactory to make the decisions that we made. But then after we got into it, it almost was like a wolf in sheep's lining. You weren't quite sure some of the decisions or the facts that were coming out. And I'm not saying that of Derek or anybody else, but when you look at, if you don't have a PTO, you don't have a drive shaft or something's not fitting quite right, or it's not going to fit on the truck, is that the Isuzu people and how they represented it? Is it the company that was going to do the conversion for you, not fully looking at the situation and apprising you of all the details and things that be involved, not making sure that they have all the parts available that they need to make that conversion, or the personnel available and the expertise available to do it? Sometimes you rely on people on their word on some of this stuff or what they print, and it doesn't always pan out to be exactly what they said. And so then sometimes corrections were made as we travel down the path to try to do it. Where in my briefings, the delay has come is that we got a part that's needed that's apparently not anywhere on any Isuzu shelf in the U.S., because I've asked that question several times. That's sitting on some ship out in the Pacific Ocean that we're waiting to get here. And hopefully that will correct that problem. In my limited knowledge of the facts, there was a point I felt that we were so far in, do you stop your losses, turn back, and spend additional money, or do you just stay the course, trying to finish this project out, and then learn from the situation you got into, and hopefully you don't have it reoccur again? And so and the airport manager will tell you that I have visited with him several times, asking for updates and things like that. And if my opinion was solicited, I gave it. But I don't want to be in a position of micromanaging something. So there's things now that's maybe easier to see that you couldn't predict at the beginning of the process. And this is where we're at. And I understand it's a convenience to the people in the airport, and that it's nice to be able to have something come to your hangar and fill your aircraft up. And I have never thought of it as being secondary to Jet A or to the jet traffic or anything like that. We've had a number of things on this airport that we've had to fix. I swear every project we got into, we had to wait on something that extended the timeline, whether it was the cans for the lights on the runway or waiting for the FAA people to come be present when they installed it, whatever it was, there was something that delayed it. And extremely frustrating, and I understand your frustration. The common thing now is to blame it on COVID or to blame it on a ship off in the Pacific Ocean, but I don't know of any project that we've started. We've got more coming. We still got the $1.5 to $2 million project on the taxiway rehab and the taxiway lights coming up. And who knows what little part's going to stop that process or lengthen that timeline out. And we face the same thing on this. So I view the avgas truck as a nice complement to the airport and the things that we, in the line of services that we provide to everybody. And particularly, if you have a fly-in or a group of planes come in, it enhances the fuel cells on that. If you go back last year for the months, if you start from January 1st through your October 5th, when we didn't have that, if you look at because we keep track, when Terry Turner was on the board, he asked that the airport manager, starting back with first Greg, I think it was, keep track of how many gallons we sold and fuel cells and that type of thing. If you go back and look at what's been presented to us as the board, in that time frame, we sold 25,239 gallons from the pump, and we sold 6,965 gallons from the truck. So for every gallon from the truck, we sold 3.62 from the pump. So if you just want to be a bean counter and look at it economically, you almost have to question whether you should spend the money for a truck for that kind of a ratio. But if you're trying to provide a variety of services and some convenience, then you can't factor that in. So I am all for getting a avgas truck operational as soon as we can, and maybe we need to work. Look at the facts again. I mean, the information we presented, or I don't know, maybe I need to do a road trip up to Wichita and look at things myself. I thought about it, but I just haven't done it at this point. But I don't know if I've answered any questions, but maybe that gives you a little more insight.
It's,
Can I have 1 minute?
yeah, go ahead. We're out.
Yeah, we're just frustrated, I can see
Yeah.
what's going on. And, we got a used truck with a Jet A, we're gonna replace it with a used truck. We're just gonna move the tank over to another used truck. And the used truck has a lot bigger wheelbase, and it's a tandem axle instead of a single axle. And, my concern is it needed? Are we gaining that much by going from a used truck to another used truck? And the turning radius, you've got 4 more tires to maintain. Is it really the right decision? Should we stop and look at that truck before we spend any more money to swap tanks?
Those are good points. Probably so.
So the system when you authorized purchase was 2 Isuzus that were the same vehicle, operator had the same equipment, less maintenance costs, because we got the same parts. Now we're not there at that point. But I will say, Dale, everyone, thanks, because it took me getting on the agenda to dig this information out from you, and this is what we've needed all along. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Well, like I said earlier, and we're kind of into item 6 on the agenda now with your comments. Those on the board have been aware of these items. It just hasn't been, it's been we've discussed it some during board meetings. Derek, get the name right, has sent us messages on the updates, and it just hasn't been relayed to you. It's not that we're dragging our feet. We want it to happen as quick as it can, but it just hasn't worked out that way. So,
Are we up in the hole for the board members?
well, we're in comments by
So,
public,
number one, I think all your numbers might have been a little skewed on the sales for truck versus pump, because I think at that particular juncture, it was costing more money to have the full service versus the self-serve, if I'm not mistaken.
He breaks them down by truck and pump. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, right. I was just simply saying. Second of all, has anybody by chance just thrown it out there, maybe consulted somebody over at Southwest Truck for any parts that you guys might need? Not necessarily to be able to buy new, but to possibly build, because I know they have a full machine shop.
I don't know if that's,
We've talked to them, especially for the avgas truck for the.
That was kind of what I was
for
thinking.
the-
I didn't know if that would be something that they could build parts for.
The problem is the 100 low lead. If we put a part on that Isuzu that's not an Isuzu part, we're going to void the warranty.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's why we're waiting for the slow boat from China
Gotcha.
to get us that part, is to make sure we don't void that warranty on that brand new vehicle.
That makes perfect sense.
My numbers go back, I took that 50 cents full service charge off pretty quickly after I started. So technically, what he's looking at, there's no difference in price.
Eric, when you fill the fuel truck from the pump, you keep that number separate, because that shows a sale out of the pump.
Yeah. I use it doesn't go as a sale, it goes as, when it's a fuel master, it went in as the terminal. It keeps separate from actual fuel sales. And so with the QT pod, I have a test card that I put in there and I use it so it doesn't show as a sale. But also, when it comes to the Jet A, it wasn't that the traffic, the jets didn't want us towing them, because 90% of them they didn't care if we used our tow. The main problem is our hose wasn't long enough. If we got a CJ5 that wasn't a single point, our hose wasn't long enough to reach them. And it's just, and some of these planes, the Phenom 300, some of our tow bars weren't compatible. So at that time, we had the option to bring the Jet A truck back because it was still serviceable. And so that's why we brought that back. It wasn't that we preferred Jet A sales, or that they didn't want us. It was just, at that time, we had the option. We didn't have the option to bring the Jet A or the avgas truck back, or I would have. If I'd have known that it was going to take forever to get all these things going. Like I said, my biggest fear on that old avgas truck is that it was chewing up a starter all the time. So to me, that would say that the flywheel back there was bad. There were just so many problems with it, plus the fact that it was backfiring. And yeah, it was backfiring and sparking, and that's a scary deal when you're sitting in the seat with 1,000 or so gallons behind you of very flammable fuel. So
Small discussion, according to your notes, at the end of March might be the rainbow might be inside.
yeah, that's what we're hoping.
That's what they're telling us.
That's what they're telling us. That's what they're hearing from who they bought it from. And like I said, then when they get that, they can attach it and they can see how the drive shaft or PTO shaft, if it needs extended or shortened, they'll be able to figure that out and then send it to get programmed. And good to go.
So I have a military 500-gallon fuel tank on a trailer with a pump. You need to put a filter, which I have aviation filters, that we can put on it. If you want to use that trailer interim, you're welcome to come get it.
We appreciate that. The problem with that would be the Corporation Commission would have to look at it, calibrate the meter, approve it, and there'd be additional expenses. I would say probably your filters, filters are expensive. The hose have to be within a certain date on the hose. You can't use an old hose. Our insurance company and the Corporation Commission won't allow us to do that.
I've got brand new aviation grade filters,
Okay.
everything used.
It might open you up to liability though, as well.
Yeah,
I'm just throwing it out there.
yeah, I appreciate that.
What do you pull it with? The pickup or?
Yeah,
tractor?
That's military tank.
Well,
We-
Derek can look into that and see
I'll call Marcos and city guys.
see what they say. And
If the rainbow doesn't appear, we may have to go down.
Yeah, one time I did look at an actual, instead of getting a fuel truck, an actual, just like a 500 or so, 750 gallon fuel trailer, but when I was looking at what we were trying to pull it with that old pickup, I mean, it can barely go down the boulevard at 45 mile an hour, or 35, how much speed I guess, but even coming down here, I mean, it's just, I don't know. But I did look into that. I just thought a truck would be better.
Any other remarks or inquiries by citizens?
So just to give you a rough idea on costs that we were looking at several months ago, a used fuel truck to go purchase it was twice the cost of what the two new Isuzus was. And a brand new Jet A fuel system, we could have bought darn near another above ground fuel pump. So they're not cheap. And I personally looked around at different auction services that auction off assets of airlines and FBOs that go out, and there wasn't anything that didn't look like it came out of World War II, available at that time.
Well, they were huge airline airlines.
Any other remarks or inquiries by citizens? Okay, if not, we'll back up and look at the item that we missed, the remarks and inquiries by airport commission members. Do we have anything there?
No, and just thanks for showing up, guys. I appreciate it. We want feedback all the time. And I don't know, a couple of you have my phone number. You can just text me anytime you want if you have any questions. Probably won't know the answer right away, but I can try to get it. Work with other folks and get the answer to you. But I do appreciate you coming by, come by every meeting. And keep engaging with us. But if you want to share my number with other folks that have questions, John, after this, I'll give you my number.
Sure.
Anything else? Okay, we'll go on to item 8 and adjourn.